What kind of sparks will be generated by the collision of Taoism and magic? Does Voldemort's Horcruxes have any hidden secrets? Did Na 6 make a mistake in learning swordsmanship? Zhang Xiao, who was reborn as a Chinese born in London, never imagined that his parents who set up a fortune-telling stall would actually know how to do magic, let alone receive an admission letter from Hogwarts one day. P.S. Refusing to step on one hand, hoping that this book can complete the world of Harry Potter, rather than using a sword technique to instantly defeat Voldemort and strike the wizarding world. PS2. The Taoist technique is set slightly higher than the level in the Nine Uncle movie, and the power level is not outrageous. It is more important to focus on setting rather than power. If you want to see the Taoist technique stepping on the West and hanging Voldemort, please take a detour. More similar to the feeling of Jiushu Daofa+Qimen Dunjia. Keywords of the novel. Chinese international students in Hogwarts without pop-ups. Download the complete TXT collection of Chinese international students in Hogwarts, and read the latest chapters of Chinese international students in Hogwarts. Chapter 1. Female Ghost Black Wizard Pendant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Female Ghost Black Wizard Pendant 1991 London. The rare sunny day made everyone feel good. Today is the day for 6th grade students in the community elementary school to graduate. Obviously, these children only have the upcoming summer vacation in their eyes, and they don't understand what separation is. They just cheer and rush towards their parents. In the crowd, a black-haired Asian boy carrying a shoulder bag walked briskly outward. Along the way, people who saw him all gave way, some of whom waved and greeted him. Hey, Zhang. Zhang. What middle school are you planning to go to? Please make sure to tell me. I will definitely not choose the school you are going to. Xiao Zhang. You're just an FXXK bastard. I'm not afraid of you. Wait. My dad hired me a boxing coach, and I swear, after summer vacation, I will kick your butt hard with my sneakers. The reactions of girls are very different, and most girls will look at him with enthusiastic eyes. Obviously, the boy's appearance has a great killing power on these girls. Zhang Xiao didn't react to this, just lazily crossed his shoulder with one hand, dragging his backpack and slowly walking around the campus. As he walked out of the school gate, he squinted his eyes slightly and looked towards the clear sky. The sky was clear for thousands of miles, as clear as water. He has seen similar scenes countless times in his previous life, but after being reborn in the UK, he has seen fewer of them. It's been 10 years already. Zhang Xiao was full of thoughts, and in his first year of rebirth, he was still a baby, in a confused state. When he woke up, he realized that he had actually been reborn, in 1980 in England. For his previous life, Zhang Xiao no longer had much obsession. His family conditions were good, and even if he left, the inheritance he left was enough for his family to live a good life. Although raising money is vulgar, it must be said that in the face of death, the greatest comfort that can be given to people is precisely money. Zhang. What are you thinking? A slightly stuttering voice interrupted his thoughts. Zhang Xiao turned his face and smiled, saying, It's nothing, I'm thinking about whether or not to beat up that kid Adams during the summer vacation. He just said he's going to kick my butt with his sneakers. The person who came to talk to him was his friend Xiao Pang, a Mexican immigrant. The process of becoming friends between the two was very simple. As the Chinese at the bottom of the discrimination chain in the UK, Zhang Xiao suffered insults and bullying on his first day of school. As a rational and mature middle-aged person with a combined age of 40 in 2 lifetimes. How could Zhang Xiao have the same view as a child? He just pressed the other person to the ground and hammered them. A child who wants to win in a fight is nothing more than not afraid of pain and daring to take action. Relying on the advantage of seeing everyone as a little kid based on their psychological age, as well as having played Sonda in their previous life, and having a deep understanding of the mysteries of guerrilla warfare and protracted warfare. Zhang Xiao was invincible throughout the school, and his most brilliant achievement was facing nearly 20 opponents. He relied on a mop in the restroom to fight and flee in embarrassment, breaking through each opponent and becoming famous in one battle. In the end, he got along well with those white children and smoothly integrated into the campus, making other children who were also discriminated against idols, and Xiao Pang was one of them. He also received a resounding nickname. Crazy Zhang, sole translation. The arrogant Zhang. Xiao Pang obviously didn't take Zhang Xiao's words seriously. He let out exaggerated laughter and looked around before asking. Didn't anyone come to pick you up? Where's Uncle Zhang? Uncle Zhang, Zhang Xiao shrugged his shoulders. They went to Westminster and an old man passed away. He won't come back today. Xiaopeng's eyes lit up and he excitedly said. Are you going to extradite the deceased again? Wow, your parents work really cool. By the way, do you still have the yellow paper you gave me last time? I want to get one for my Aunt Fanny too. Brother, that thing is really great. Is it really useful? Zhang Xiao was somewhat surprised, as Xiao Pang had been having nightmares due to long-term bullying. So I took a calming talisman from my dad. I was originally planning to use it as a placebo, but it actually worked. I have to mention Zhang Xiao's parents in this lifetime. The couple, for some unknown reason, went black in the UK and engaged in a long-standing and highly skilled job of setting up stalls and fortune-telling in a nearby Chinese neighborhood. Our main focus is on feng shui, and we also work part-time in daily life. By the way, we can measure good or bad luck by looking at the 8 characters chart, and we can also do naming and verification. Husband and wife work together harmoniously. You draw symbols and I grind cinnabar, and you play the swana. Although life is not easy, the love and care of his parents have never diminished. Zhang Xiao doesn't really care about material possessions. He has been reborn and is still afraid that he won't be able to live a good life in the future. Farewell to Xiao Pang, Zhang Xiao walked briskly towards his home. Thanks to London's poor urban planning, the slums were rarely expanded or renovated, and dilapidated buildings along the street formed a series of rarely visited alleys. Zhang Xiao walked through the alleys with a familiar light car, but for some reason, the people in the alleys were particularly rare today. As I was turning and passing through a small alley, I was about to return home when suddenly a nervous voice came from ahead. Jason, why did you hide the female ghost here? Are you crazy? Zhang Xiao suddenly slowed down his pace, followed by a gloomy and low voice. Relax, Wilbur. I used the Muggle destroyer curse nearby. My friend, the female ghost needs to eat. I tortured a Muggle and he told me that this is a slum, and even the Muggle government wouldn't care if a few Muggles died. As long as you quietly and secretly catch a few Muggles and feed them to the female ghost, I promise there won't be any trouble, but... Shut up, Wilbur. For the sake of the Dark Lord, can you be like a real Death Eater? Think about it, when the female ghost matures, it only needs a howl to kill a large number of wizards. We only need to threaten the Ministry of Magic and release Azkaban's brothers and sisters, or we will randomly select locations and release female ghosts. Wait, we seem to have guests. When Zhang Xiao heard the torture of Muggle, he began to carefully retreat. Although he didn't understand the meaning of the word Muggle for a moment, it was definitely not a good word. When I heard the last sentence, I immediately ran away, feeling a chill in my spine and a great sense of fear surging out of my heart. Driven by instinct, Zhang Xiao pounced on the ground. Almost as soon as he fell, a dazzling green light trembled and flew over him. Zhang Xiao looked up in shock and saw a middle-aged British man wearing a cloak and a top hat standing at the entrance of the alley. His eye sockets were deeply sunken, and under his hooked nose were tightly pursed lips. His eyes were cold, sharp, and gloomy. He was still holding a slightly curved brown wooden stick in his hand. The green light, the small stick, and the familiar Muggle finally stirred up some vague memories of Zhang Xiao, as if Avada lethal curse. Wand. Muggles. Is this the world of Harry Potter? This is the world of Harry Potter. Zhang Xiao's heart suddenly stirred up towering waves, and he suppressed his shock. Now was not the time for wild thoughts. There is still a dangerous figure in front of us who looks like a Death Eater. If there are any problems, we have to survive before we speak. Jason was a bit surprised. He didn't expect the lowly muggle in front of him to be able to escape the death curse. He waved his hand to his rushing companions, gesturing for him to come, and then waved his wand. Sting. Another green light struck. Zhang Xiao, embarrassed dagger, glutinous rice rolls with sweet bean flour, escaped the green light, and instinctively scolded in the most familiar language under the combination of fright and anger. Paralyzed, did I give you a face? The middle. Aged man heard Zhang Xiao shouting something in incomprehensible language, although he didn't understand the meaning, his tone didn't seem polite. The mysterious wizard couldn't hold on for 2 consecutive life-threatening spells without killing a muggle child, and his eyes became even more fierce. He decided not to continue playing and turned his head to his companion, saying, Wilbur, let's go together and use the coma spell. I want to feed my female ghost with him. During the moment of communication between the two, Zhang Xiao ran desperately behind the nearby trash can, reaching into his backpack and groping for it. He always felt that he was a person with a simple sense of justice, otherwise he wouldn't have jumped in front of kindergarten children when the criminals were shooting them with modified nail guns. His thoughts are similar to those of great men. If someone doesn't offend me, I won't offend them. If someone offends me, I will hammer you to death. Zhang Xiao slowly lifted his head, his face calm, but his deep brown pupils seemed to be a burning fire. As the two of them got closer, Zhang Xiao kicked over the trash can. Suddenly pulling his hands out of his backpack, he lifted a silver revolver and without hesitation pulled the trigger. His past life experiences of death taught him a lesson. 7 steps away, the gun is fast. Within 7 steps, the gun is accurate and fast. Bang! Jason lowered his head slowly with a dull gaze and looked at his chest, where a small hole was dripping with blood. Weakness is never a matter of survival, arrogance is. His lips twitched weakly twice, and he fell to the ground like a torn pocket. Wilbur looked at Jason lying on the ground convulsing in terror, his brain blank. This is Jason, a powerful black wizard who has escaped from Aurora's pursuit several times. How could he suddenly fall to the ground? Is it something in the muggle's hand that did it? What is that? Muggle's Avada lethal curse. Wilbur felt fear rushing wildly against his defenses like a tide, as he watched Muggle point his strange silver weapon at him. Wilbur couldn't help it anymore. He let out a sharp shout and randomly cursed Zhang Xiao. Then he picked up Jason and quickly flew away, turning into a black smoke. Zhang Xiao ignored the distant black smoke and slowly lowered his head. One of those spells hit him, but a thin, eggshell-like light curtain blocked the spell. He looked at his chest with the joy of surviving the disaster and the confusion of being at a loss, where was the source of the light curtain. A jade pendant carved with dragon and tiger patterns, given to him by his father Zhang Qingdao. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. East-West and Admission Notice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 East-West and Admission Notice. In Zhang Xiao's complex gaze, the eggshell-like light curtain slowly dissipated, and the jade pendant also restrained its radiance. In the past life, problems that were intentionally or unintentionally overlooked by oneself have resurfaced. For example, if a family lives in a slum and their parents are not worried about their own safety, according to the typical Chinese parents, it is a desperate effort to keep their children away from danger. I have been worried for several years and have saved up a lot of money for it. Through the school's black community, I carried a revolver with me and practiced regularly, fearing that I would be unable to protect myself in case of danger. For example, on the first day of school, I violently beat up my classmates. I thought my parents and school were going to cause trouble, but nothing happened. This also fueled his arrogance and laid the foundation for his future success throughout the entire school. And the most crucial question is, their family of 3 is black in the UK, and no one is willing to change their nationality. How did they attend school? Zhang Xiao put away his things and walked back home with a stomach full of questions. As for reporting to the police and handling the aftermath, that unlucky guy named Jason has a saying that even the British government doesn't want to manage the slums, so why bother him? When passing by the apartment mailbox, I randomly grabbed out the things inside and continued thinking about things. He is quite familiar with the story of Harry Potter and not a fanatic, but he has read novels and movies, and even Hogwarts Legacy has over 200 hours of playtime. It's been the past decade, and many details are not very clear, but when you look back carefully, you can still remember many things. Are parents also wizards or other similar identities? So do you have this talent? After thinking for a while, Zhang Xiao became discouraged. Generally speaking, talented little wizards show signs of magic exploding in their childhood. For example, Potter's hair, unconscious teleportation, glass melting, and so on, and I have no such experience at all. Is it precisely for this reason that my parents kept it from me? Are you a mute? Perhaps being an ignorant ordinary person is also good. Zhang Xiao thought bitterly as he casually grabbed the newspaper, trying to divert his attention through some things. But I found something sandwiched in the middle of the newspaper, as if it was a letter. Is it a credit card reminder for bills? Zhang Xiao was lost in thought and casually flipped the letter to the back. On the back of the envelope, there was a wax seal, a shield emblem, and a lion, an eagle, a badger, and a snake circled around the capital letter H. Zhang Xiao's eyes widened suddenly, and his hands tightened with force. Trembling, he opened the envelope and took out the letter to read. Principal of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Albus Dumbledore, President of the International Federation of Witchcraft and Wizardry, President of the Wizardry Association, and first-class magician of the Order of Merlin. Dear Mr. Xiao Zhang, we are pleased to inform you that you have been granted permission to attend Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Please find attached a list of required books and equipment. The semester is scheduled to start on September 1st. We will be waiting for your owl to bring you a reply before July 31st, Vice Principal, Female, Maliva McGonagall, greetings. An explosive joy spread in his heart. Zhang Xiao opened his mouth, feeling like a balloon constantly expanding inside his body, making him feel light and dizzy. Is this Hogwarts admission letter? I'm not a mute cannon. I'm going to Hogwarts to study. I'm going to Hogwarts to learn magic. With a hearty smile on his face, Zhang Xiao held up the letter in a daze and read it over and over again. Even though he was familiar with the twists and turns of each letter, he still couldn't bear to put down the letter. Until the door of the room was suddenly knocked open, he was startled and woke up from his drunkenness. Before Zhang Xiao could react, 2 figures had already stood in front of him. Mom Li Qingshu still has a shiny swana hanging on her waist, obviously coming directly from the main household. She squatted down and held on to Zhang Xiao with both hands. After carefully examining for a long time, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Xiao Xiao is fine. Father Zhang Qingdao, with a serious expression, closed his eyes and turned around in place for a few times. After hearing his wife's words, he nodded and snorted, saying, "They run fast." Zhang Xiao originally wanted to tell her parents about what happened before. But when I actually saw it, I forgot everything. He lifted the letter and exclaimed excitedly. Mom and Dad, look. Li Qingshu curiously took the letter, just glanced roughly, and then gave it to Zhang Qingdao with a strange expression. This reaction is not right. Does it mean that parents really know Hogwarts? A family of 3 sat on the sofa, with Zhang Qingdao holding a letter and pondering for a while before asking, "Son, do you want to go to Hogwarts to school?" Zhang Xiao quickly nodded, who hasn't had a huameng yet. Zhang Qingdao sighed and took out a pen from his Taoist robe, brushing a few lines of text on the back of the letter. Zhang Xiao secretly looked at it. It was still beautiful floral English. Seemingly sensing his son's peeping, Zhang Qingdao said without looking up. Generally speaking, for families that are not registered, Hogwarts will send a professor to prove the existence of the wizarding world. As long as you make a note on the letter, there is no need for the professor to come. Do you want to understand that? I don't even know these cold knowledge. Zhang Xiao dared not speak recklessly, and could only look eagerly at his father and mother. Folding the letter paper back and putting it away, Zhang Qingdao pondered for a while before finally saying, I never knew how to tell you, so you probably have a lot of questions, right? Zhang Xiao nodded and pointed to his pendant, briefly recounting what had happened before. When it comes to the female ghost, my parents just frowned slightly and didn't take it seriously. When Li Qingshu heard the green light shining from the opposite side against her son, her eyebrows raised and her beautiful eyes filled with evil spirits. She coldly shouted to her husband, Old Zhang. Zhang Qingdao also squeezed out a few words from between his teeth. Find death. Leave it to me. After tidying up his emotions and considering it for a while, he slowly said to his son. Okay, you can put the jade pendant behind us for now. Let's talk about our family first. Zhang Qingdao said straightforwardly, there is a magical world in the west, and there are also mysteries in the east. Among the mysteries, Longhu Mountain is the leader. Both your mother and I come from Longhu Mountain, with orthodox traditions. As for your father and me, we can be considered as one of the future inheritors of the heavenly masters in Longhu Mountain. Due to the domestic turmoil several decades ago, coupled with the anxiety of the Taoist sect, the heavenly master once again made a divination. Your mother and I will have a son in the future, and fate is in the west. If we don't have it, we won't be able to cultivate. So it's both a dark line insurance and for you. We walked around Europe and eventually stayed in England. As for Hogwarts, it is an extremely famous magic school in the West. Today, upon seeing it, you may have your chance in it, so it doesn't matter if you go to school. Although he grew up abroad since childhood, his child's education has not been let down. Zhang Xiao's extracurricular reading materials are textbooks such as the Su Jiao edition or Chinese biographical novels, so Zhang Qingdao is not worried that his son won't understand. Zhang Xiao not only understood, but also his true life experiences made his thinking distorted to a point that the couple could not have anticipated. Longhu Mountain. Tianshi Mansion. Is Lao Tianshi like Zhang Jiwei? Or the kind in cultivation novels? He thought that his parents' background was not simple, but he didn't expect it to be so simple. But then, he raised even more questions: why domestic turmoil could lead to chaos in the Dao family. Since he is the heir of the Dao family, how can he live a miserable life in England by setting up a stall and fortune-telling? Dao men should not be short of money, right? Also, since you can cultivate, what magic can you learn? Sword flying immortal, moving mountains and filling the sea, isn't that more powerful than magic? Upon hearing their son's question, the couple's laughter trembled as Li Qingshu touched Zhang Xiao's head. Xiao, luxurious clothing and food are life, and simple meals are also life. Material desires are not a bad thing. But these are like floating clouds to me, capable of both entering and leaving the world. This is the attitude that a person of practice should have towards life. Of course, you don't have to feel guilty about your preference for luxury. Being indifferent to one's desires is against human nature. When you reach your home in the future, you will naturally understand. And my father summarized magic and Taoism. There is no distinction between Taoism and magic, it's just that everyone's Taoism is different. As far as I know, magic still has many advantages. As for what you said about flying swords thousands of miles away to defeat the enemy's head level. Son, when did you read the Shu Mountain Swordsman Chronicles? Zhang Xiao remained silent, his mind filled with stories about cultivating immortals from later generations. In them, the protagonists were often groundbreaking, moving mountains and seas, and even many others were already preconceived. In the end, my dad came to the conclusion that there is no conflict between Taoism and demons, and the path of cultivation is also different. It doesn't matter if the two practice together. As for why the domestic turmoil has affected Dao men, Zhang Xiao did not explain it too much, just said it was very complex, and he will know it in the future. Judging from his father's appearance, Zhang Xiao didn't dare to ask any further questions. The more outrageous question was directly pressed to death in his heart. Since there is indeed a realm of cultivation, and my dad said that magic and Taoism are on equal footing, then based on the power of magic, it is easy to kill the little devil. Why not take action to kill the little devil? Note 1, he is afraid that his father will beat him up if he asks. Anyway, the days are still long, so he can find the answer himself in the future. The family conversation gradually came to an end. At the end, Zhang Xiao hesitated for a long time, seeming to want to say something, but in the end, he didn't say anything. Instead, he patted Zhang Xiao's shoulder and encouraged him, "Study hard at Hogwarts and don't embarrass us." Zhang Xiao smacks his lips, it's really Chinese parents. This familiar feeling is in the same lineage. Li Qingshu looked at the clock and stood up to express her opinion, "All right, it's almost 2 o'clock. Xiao, hurry up and go to bed." Zhang Qingdao squeezed his eyes at Zhang Xiao and coughed twice. Your mother is right. I read the letter saying that new students need to prepare some things for enrollment, and they should buy them in Diagon Alley. Tomorrow, your mother and I will take you for a walk. Now hurry up and go to bed. Li Qingshu didn't mention that it was okay, but as soon as she mentioned the time, Zhang Xiao suddenly felt drowsy and couldn't help but yawn, feeling that her eyes were almost unable to open. He walked unsteadily to his small bed, with a longing similar to that of elementary school students before a spring outing, and fell into a deep sleep. Li Qingshu quietly came to her son's bed and helped him tuck in the blanket. Looking at the smile on the child's face, she couldn't help but laugh. That must be a good dream. Note 1. Official setting. During World War I, thousands of wizards joined the war, among which Newt Scammon's brother Theseus Scammon was referred to as a war hero after the war, so the claim that wizards did not participate in the national war does not hold true. I will fill this hole in the future when it comes to the issue of participating in the Daomen War. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. The Broken Cauldron Bar in Diagon Alley. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Broken Cauldron Bar in Diagon Alley. The next morning, the first thing Zhang Xiao did when he opened his eyes was to grope for the envelope that was placed next to his pillow yesterday. He flipped through the envelope several times before foolishly confirming that everything that happened last night was not a dream. This made him look energetic, even a bit over-spirited. Later on, Zhang Xiao had to remind himself that it was just Hogwarts, at least 2 lifetimes combined into 40 people, and he had to be steady. What? Do we need to add cultivation? That's not a big deal. Drift directly. The family happily finished breakfast, and as soon as they put down their chopsticks, Zhang Xiao couldn't wait to ask. Dad, when are we leaving? Zhang Qingdao smiled helplessly at his wife. Now. So half an hour later, the 3 of them had already sat in their dilapidated car at home. Thanks to the poor traffic conditions in London, they had not yet been 10 miles away from home. Looking at the road conditions, it will take a while. In order to alleviate the boredom during the traffic jam, Zhang Qingdao began to educate his son on some basic information about the Western magic world. Zhang Xiao didn't expect his father to have a good understanding of the wizarding world, but upon closer examination, he was right. As one of the inheritors of the Taoist sect, coming to the West shouldn't be a bad thing, right? It is estimated that there is also intelligence support from various sources inside. The place we are going to is called Diagon Alley, which can be considered the busiest wizard street in England. Its entrance is in a bar, and when I first came to the UK, I also visited it a few times. Compared to our local market, it is a bit smaller, but it is also quite uniquely. Qin Shu on the passenger seat glanced at him and added. Don't be fooled by what your father is saying now, he made a lot of jokes at that time. Zhang Qingdao coughed awkwardly a few times. Don't criticize me in front of my son, let's continue talking. The bar at the entrance is called the Broken Cauldron Bar. In earlier years, even ordinary people could enter this bar, but it has only been in recent decades that spells have been cast and hidden. During this period, there was an interesting anecdote. In the early 19th century, the secular government here was preparing to rebuild a street. According to their plan, the bar should have been demolished. Do you know the Minister of Magic at that time? The place where these wizards are managed is equivalent to the government of the wizarding world. Zhang Xiao was listening attentively and quickly nodded in agreement. I know, but what about Dad? The Minister of Magic is an old and stubborn person who still adheres to the old dogma of isolating immortals and mortals. He doesn't want to deal with ordinary people and wants to let the secular government dismantle the matter. But the common people in the magic world are not willing anymore. They collectively cast spells, changed the plan, and kept the bar. But this caused a lot of trouble for the designers, they even shaved off their heads but didn't understand. Why is there a blank area in the design plan that cannot be found? Over time, it became a legend that the disciples of these people, Sun Yat-sen, would hold their heads and shout when they encountered difficulties, "Oh my God! It's another open space on Charlene Street." Note 1, poor designer. Zhang Xiao silently waxed the designer in charge of planning in his heart, and then laughed along with his parents very unkindly. The whole car was filled with a pleasant atmosphere. Then Zhang's father also told some interesting stories that Zhang Xiao had never seen in a book in his past life. For example, there is a famous wine called Ganpu aged social wine in the Broken Cauldron Bar, which has a history of nearly 300 years. And as long as you finish 1 pint, you can receive a reward of 100 gold crowns. Unfortunately, no one has been able to receive this reward yet. Because it's really too unpleasant to drink. In the future, Ron can be recommended to give it a try, if the boss Tom is willing to sell beer to minors. He should be able to. For example, there is a travel company called Terror Tour in Diagon Alley. This tourism company's main selling point is the high tourist mortality rate, and their tourism projects include renting a vampire castle in Transylvania, pursuing a zombie trail journey, facing the living dead, crossing the Bermuda Triangle by cruise, etc. No wonder there are fewer foreigners. This kind of company would have been washed away by the families of the victims if it were to be released domestically. It seems that even wizards cannot change their nature of killing. Time passed quickly amidst the laughter of the family, and Dad parked his car at the entrance of the Broken Kettle Bar. Zhang Xiao carefully scrutinized the famous bar, which is a landmark building in the Harry Potter story. The bar is sandwiched between a huge bookstore and a record store, and the sound system of the record store is playing There's No Other Way by the Blur Band. Occasionally, customers are attracted by melodious tunes and explicit lyrics, and enter the store, creating a sharp contrast with the deserted bar. But there are also benefits, at least the entrance of the bar is empty, making parking very convenient. Zhang Xiao looked at the dilapidated bars and modern shops, they were like the wizarding world and modern society, one ancient and decaying, and the other vibrant. Then he realized, what does it matter to him? I am an international student from China. As mentioned in the book, it's really too dark and dirty here. Several old ladies were sitting in the corner, holding small glasses and drinking unknown liquids, one of whom was smoking a long cigarette bag. A little man wearing a top hat is chatting with a bar owner whose hair is almost bald and looks like a shrunken walnut. The atmosphere in the bar was very lively, and almost everyone was excitedly discussing something. Zhang Xiao vaguely heard the name of Harry Potter. Did Harry and Hagrid come before? Zhang Xiao couldn't be sure because the timeline wasn't quite right, but he had a vague expectation and didn't know if Harry Potter was like the cute little protagonist in the movie. Zhang Qingdao whispered. There is a mix of good and bad here, and everyone is there. Without sufficient self-protection ability, it's best not to come here alone. Zhang Xiao nodded to show understanding. Tom, the owner of the bar, saw the guests and walked around the counter towards the courtyard without any intention of greeting them. Instead, he enthusiastically continued to participate in the chat. The family came to the courtyard, which was a very small area with only a trash can and some weeds. This is a very clever magic mechanism, and the key can be a wand or other magical thing. Zhang Qingdao pointed to the brick wall and said to Zhang Xiao, of course, in addition to the normal way of opening the door, this can also be done. I saw Zhang Qingdao's fingers quickly change a few strange postures, muttering words in his mouth, and then suddenly his whole body becomes obscure and blurry. There is a feeling of looking through dirty glass. Zhang Qingdao walked straight towards the wall, passed through without any hesitation, and soon returned, smiling at his son. The wall-piercing technique is very useful. When I came to play with your mother before, we always thought the door was opening too slowly. Of course, only ordinary walls without protection can be worn, and generally speaking, the buildings of wizards are cursed with protection. So use with caution. Zhang Xiao's heart surged as he watched. Whether it was Taoism or magic, he wished he could start learning immediately. The magnificent new world was right in front of him, and who could resist it? Li Qinshu walked forward, counted the bricks, and tapped a brick with her index finger joint. Alright, stop showing off. Didn't you see that your son can't wait long ago? The bricks shook and began to move. A small hole appeared in the middle, and the hole grew larger and larger. Before long, a wide arch appeared in front of them, leading to a winding and endless cobblestone-paved street. Li Qinshu touched Zhang Xiao's head and said with a smile, "This is Diagon Alley." Note 1. There is no original slang term in this work, it was fabricated by the author, but this joke exists. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Quran, Pocket Money, Wand. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Quran, Pocket Money, Wand. Zhang Xiao stood in the bustling street, gazing around at the dazzling scenes, his heart filled with an indescribable shock. Although his parents had already revealed to him the existence of the door and the magical world, the moment the brick wall at the entrance opened, it seemed as if a heavy door had also opened in his heart, revealing a living magical world in front of him. It is so real, so accessible. The nearest store is selling crucibles. Pots of various sizes and materials are stacked like acrobatics, shaking but not toppling. A chubby woman walked out of the pharmacy, carefully holding a delicate crystal bottle with a small liver-like substance inside. As I passed by, I could still hear her muttering, "The price of dragon liver has increased, and my magic potion has to follow suit." The shop of Fatian Broom always attracts children's attention, with a group of children lying in front of the shop window, staring at the shining light while 2,000 inside, exchanging opinions with each other. On the sign of the ready-to-wear shop, a large pair of scissors bored through the air, and in some storefronts, baskets of bat spleens and eel eyeballs were placed, piled up with spell books, feather pens, rolls of parchment, medicine bottles, and lunar instruments. The street was crowded with people. Zhang Xiao compared with Diagon Alley of Universal Studios in his mind. Well, there is no comparability. Zhang Xiao pointed to a slightly crooked snow-white building not far away and asked, "Dad, is that what you called the Gringotts? Are we going to withdraw money?" Zhang Qingdao smiled and shook his head. He took out a small exquisite cloth bag from somewhere and shook it in front of him. "No need to go. If you want to see some fairies, you can go around. When I first came here, I changed some money and it's all here." He opened the cloth bag and reached his hand in. Zhang Xiao looked in surprise. Although the bag was only the size of a palm, half of his father's arm was stuck in it. When he took out his hand again, there were already several coins of different colors in his palm. Nate, Shika, and Jean Zhelong, the conversion relationship is not complicated, this is the Qianquan bag. It's also a rare thing in the school gate. Here, This is a school start gift from your parents. Zhang Xiao took the small cloth bag in a daze, not knowing where to put it. Of course, he knew the value of this thing. There are similar things in the wizarding world, such as Newt's box, the tent in the goblet of fire, Hermione's beaded bag, and so on. But Newt's box is almost a heirloom-level magical item, the only one in the entire magical world. Although the traceless stretching mantra is a high-level spell, there are still many wizards who can use it. The difficulty lies in the combination of the constant traceless stretching mantra with other spells, as well as the constant mantra. And according to previous life speculations, the difficulty of the stretching mantra is related to the size of the space. The smaller the space, the more difficult it is for things like handbags and pockets to break through the sky. Li Qingshu looked at her son and didn't know where to put it, so she smiled and helped him hang it on her waist. Just hang it up. There are also some decorations on it, mainly for fixing and anti-theft tricks, which are very safe. Zhang Qingdao gave a very Western snap of his finger. There's still a lot to buy, let's act separately. Wife, go buy your son's textbooks and other tools, by the way. Get the best. I'll take him to buy a wand. Zhang Xiao hurriedly said. No need, ordinary ones will do. Zhang Qingdao shook his head and said solemnly. Respect the Luoyi first, then respect the others. The current atmosphere in the magic world is not good, and there is a group of people who look down on this and that, but they still have the power to speak, which is very annoying. These foreign objects can help you save a lot of trouble, and besides. Zhang Qingdao patted his son's shoulder and sighed, we have a lot of money in our sect and don't know how to spend it. It's just a perfect time for a loser. I even put 5,000 carats in your bag, so I'll treat it as your pocket money for this semester. 5,000 Kalin. 1 semester's pocket money. Zhang Xiao took a deep breath. Is the Dao family so arrogant? 5,000 Canadian dollars is enough for the Weasley family to live for several years. But just thinking about it, as a super wealthy family that has been passed down for thousands of years, it would be strange if there is no money, right? Zhang Xiao followed his father to Ollivander, another famous location in the novel. Ollivander's wand shop has a storefront that does not quite match its reputation. It looks small and broken, and the golden signboard on the door has peeled off. On it reads, Ollivander. A finely crafted wand made since 382 BC. Note 1, in the dusty shop window, a wand stood alone on a faded purple cushion. When they entered the store, there were jingling bells coming from somewhere behind the store. The shop is very small, except for a bench, there is nothing else. But the entire store was like a storm, scattered with many long boxes. An old man was slowly picking up the box on the ground and gently wiping it clean, like some rare treasure. Ah, welcome. The old man put down the box in his hand, with a gentle smile on his face. His eyes were bright, like the bright moon. I just received a very picky guest and it was a bit messy. Although magic can be used, I always feel that it makes the wand feel disrespectful towards them. Ollivander approached Zhang Xiao and scrutinized him vigorously with his large silver eyes. A stranger, okay, let's get started. He took out a long tape measure with silver markings from his pocket. Which arm do you use to use the wand? Zhang Xiao raised his right hand. Lift your arms up. Okay. First, measure your head circumference from your shoulders to your fingertips, then from your wrist to your elbow, from your shoulders to the floor, from your knees to your armpits. As he measured, he said. Every Ollivander wand is unique, not only the wizard choosing the wand, but also the wand choosing the owner, just like the picky little guest before. Ollivander suddenly stopped talking here, but his face still had a lingering and surprised expression. Zhang Xiao knew that he should be talking about Harry's iron-headed child, but he didn't really care. After the dimensions were all confirmed, Zhang Qingdao, who was waiting on the side, suddenly took a step forward and interrupted Ollivander's search for the wand. He smiled and said, Hello, I hope you can customize a wand for my son using the materials we provide. Note 2, Note 1. I have doubts about this point in time. Apart from the pyramids, the oldest wizard to appear is the despicable Halbo around 100 BC. Among the 28 pure-blooded families, the oldest are the medieval Gunther and Black families, which are around 800 years old. During this period, there was no mention of the concept of an excellent wand. The old wand first appeared around 1,200 years ago. After consulting relevant materials, it was found that Ollivander's introduction stated, he firmly believed that his ancestors came from Greece, which means there is no relevant text or historical record of their families more than 2,300 years of history. It is seriously suspected that Aunt Rowling may have accidentally pinched some time when writing the first book, without considering too much. Note 2. Ollivander can customize wands and provide their own materials. This information comes from Hogwarts Legacy. Aunt Rowling did not directly participate in the production, but the details and plot were discussed with her, so it should be considered semi-official. Note 3. This article strives to respect the original work and Aunt Rowling as co-creators, slandering and maliciously changing their character image. It is no different from holding a bowl to eat and putting down a bowl to scold the author. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Calm before the beginning of school. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Calm before the beginning of school. Ollivander stopped his movements, slowly turned around, looked at Zhang Xiao, and solemnly said, not every type of tree and wand core can be used to make magic wands. In the past, people believed that water monster fur and whiskers were the best wand materials. But Ollivander proved that they are not. Zhang Xiao did not refute, but suspected to have taken out another exquisite wooden box from a qianquan bag and placed it in front of the table, making a graceful gesture of invitation. Zhang Xiao is already confused at this moment. Is Taoism so particular? Even the wand had to be customized, but at this moment, his heart was filled with curiosity and he couldn't help but lean forward to see what materials his dad had taken out. Ollivander scrutinized the wooden box with a scrutinizing gaze, then gently opened it, only glanced at it once, and couldn't move his eyes again. He lowered his head, as if he was about to stick to the wood, his expression becoming focused and fanatical, and whispered softly, Merlin. What did I see? Beautiful, elegant, mysterious and unbelievable, I actually saw violent lightning in a piece of wood. I remember, yes, I remember writing in my grandfather's notes, although we have tried the vast majority of wood in this world, there are still some that are rare and cannot be found. Note 1, for example, he once heard that in ancient China, there was a very precious and rare type of wood called sour jujube wood struck by lightning. Ollivander lifted his head, his eyes filled with anticipation. As a pure wand master, nothing excites him more than rare wood and a wand core. Zhang Xiao gave a thumbs up and exclaimed in admiration, you are indeed a master, you are right. This is a lightning-struck jujube tree, and it is a 1,000-year-old lightning-struck jujube tree. It grows in a specific place and sprouts again after being struck by lightning. Mom. Millennium lightning strikes sour jujube wood. Or is it the kind of feng shui treasure land where withered trees bloom in spring? Buffs are all stacked up. Zhang Xiao was speechless. In his past life, due to his wife's reasons, he had contact with both Buddhism and Taoism. The millennium-old lightning-struck jujube trees sold on the market were mostly fake and made by soaking them in high-voltage electricity. This small string of bracelets can sell for thousands of yuan, and the truly magical millennium lightning strike dates won't even be sold. It's not even time to use them as heirlooms. Not to mention the lightning-striking sour jujube wood that satisfies all three elements at the same time. Just this small piece of wood, when someone who knows how to trade it for Corina easily, they still feel like they have made a profit. What about the wand core? What kind of wand core is used? For Ollivander, the wand is not related to life and death, but higher than life and death. After confirming that wood was the material that the family had been longing for generations, he eagerly asked about the material of the cane core. Zhang Xiao took out another small jade bottle, gently shook it, and placed it in front of Ollivander.'s whiskers. Note 2, Ollivander accepted this deal with an extremely solemn attitude. As for his concern about the compatibility between the wand and the owner, Zhang Qingdao also said that there was no need to worry, as the sect had its own way. Based on the novels he read in his previous life, Zhang Xiao guessed that it might be something like sacrificing his master's blood to practice, or practicing it every day until he was coated with milk and the wand accepted his fate. In the following time, they also visited shops such as Madame Morkin's ready-to-wear store and other stores that purchased essential items. In the evening, when the family set foot on the road back to Diagon Alley, the sun was almost setting. They walked through the wall, past the empty broken kettle bar, and returned to the car. Just like traveling, no matter how much enthusiasm is, it will be worn down by exhaustion. At this moment, Zhang Xiao just wants to hurry home, lie on that soft and comfortable bed, and have a beautiful sleep. By the time Zhang Xiao woke up again, his mother had placed the steamed stuffed buns with deep-fried dough sticks and soybean milk on the table. Zhang Qingdao also sat on the side, holding a newspaper in his hand, and was casually turning it over. Zhang Xiao noticed that everyone in this newspaper was moving around, and upon reading the headline, it was the Prophet's Daily. "Dad, why did you start reading the Wizard newspaper? Is there any interesting news on it?" Zhang Xiao took deep-fried dough sticks and soaked it in soybean milk. When deep-fried dough sticks was full of soybean milk, he took it out and put it into his mouth, vaguely asking. Zhang Qingdao put down the newspaper and took a sip of soybean milk. "It's not because you're going to Hogwarts to study, I have to learn more about the wizarding world. If one day your little boy causes trouble, your father, I need to know who to find or who to destroy to make peace, right? There's not much news either, the headline is saying the legendary savior Harry Potter. It seems that he entered Hogwarts this academic year and should be your classmate. Has Harry Potter started making headlines now? It is worthy of being the Eye of the Iron Triangle on the front page every year." Zhang Xiao silently rose in his heart, and then asked curiously. "Dad, do you know what happened to this legendary savior?" Zhang Qingdao frowned and recalled for a moment, saying with some uncertainty. "I think I've heard of it before. It's related to a rogue organization called Voldemort. I heard there was quite a stir in England. At that time, your mother and I were traveling in other countries, and by the time we arrived in England, he had already collapsed. It's related to this child." Finally, Zhang Qingdao also expressed his own opinion. "If you ask me, Britain should go through a severe crackdown. Look at what's going on. I heard there was a domestic crackdown, and the order has improved. Okay, the Death Eaters have become a rogue gang, and Voldemort has become a rogue leader. It's more like calling it a terrorist organization, but it's not surprising that my parents don't understand the situation." Li Qingshu angrily hit her husband. "Don't listen to your dad's nonsense. Our sect is not afraid of trouble. If we really want to be bullied, we'll beat them. If we can't beat them, we'll come back and tell our parents. If our parents can't beat them, we'll still have your uncle and a master behind him. If we can't do it, we'll invite the heavenly master." Zhang Xiao gave his parents a thumbs up while eating tea egg, and the whole family finished their breakfast in a lively way. Zhang Qingdao wiped his mouth and patted Zhang Xiao's shoulder. "Come with me to the balcony later, and I will explain to you the basics of setting the door and some basic knowledge. Starting tomorrow, you will have morning classes with me." Zhang Xiao followed along with a vague understanding, and under the earnest guidance of his parents, he gradually mastered some of the most basic things. The days passed by day, and Zhang Xiao's daily life was extremely regular. He woke up in the morning to do morning classes with his parents, and after breakfast, he tutored some Taoist knowledge. After his parents went out to work, Zhang Xiao thought they were just going to play. He picked up his first-grade textbook and flipped back and forth. Among them, Standard Spells, Beginner, Magic Theory, and Beginner's Transformation Guide, are the books that I have read the most. Although I have not yet practiced them, with excellent memory, Zhang Xiao believes that it should not be a problem to become a Master of All Things, and form a CP with Hermione in the new semester called the Master of All Things combination. By the way, perhaps the genes of Dao Men are indeed good. Even if Zhang Xiaochang is handsome in this life, his brain is still strong enough, comparable to the brain that won first prize in a provincial mathematics competition in a previous life. Note 3. This routine of life was finally broken on a certain day in late August, when the owl brought a delicate velvet long box. His luxurious custom wand has arrived. Note 1. The Ollivander family has their own notes, and they will record some insights on the notes. Note 2. The Kirin of God 3 is indescribable, and I don't want to admit that it's a Kirin. It's like turning Fenrir into a husky, it's too absurd. Note 3. Zhang Xiao is not based on the author, but there must be a shadow of the author June. I have really won an award, even though I am from the elementary school group. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Initial Experience of Magic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Initial Experience of Magic. After thanking the owl with some jerky, Zhang Xiao placed the box on the table. With excitement, he slowly opened the box. I saw a delicate wand lying inside the box, with a straight body and a surface that seemed to have been polished and coated. The light brown surface had patterns similar to lightning strikes. The handle of the wand is made of jade, with exquisite patterns and seal script-like characters carved on the sheepskin like white jade, seemingly used for anti-slip purposes. Zhang Xiao held his breath and carefully picked up the wand, which was worth millions, and held it in his hand. He only felt waves of numbness in his palms, tiny hairs on his arms standing up, and a mysterious feeling spreading in his heart, driving him to wave his wand. Zhang Xiao waved his heart with force. The slender and small electric light is like a jumping blue elf, jumping out from the tip of the wand, and the brilliant light leaves a curved light strip along the waving trajectory. It's really amazing. Zhang Xiao stared at the wand in his hand and whispered to himself. Then he picked up a small card from the box, which read 13 inches, struck by lightning on sour jujube wood, the whiskers of a unicorn are hard and not easily bent. An unparalleled combination, this wand seems to be filled with infinite power. I think it is already my proudest work. Ollivander. He eagerly tried a few small spells, such as the fluorescent flicker. The spell is Lumos, which is very simple and has almost no threshold. Looking at the bright light rising from the tip of my cane, a sense of satisfaction arose. Graduated. Now that you learn swordsmanship, you can explore the world, right? Zhang Xiao couldn't help but laugh. The stage before the start of first grade is considered the most free stage for Muggle family wizards before graduation, and since they have not yet registered, there is no such thing as a trace. So you can wave your wand freely and try anything you want to try. Then he tried some other simple spells, which were also quite effective. Later on, he began to try some of the spells he remembered, such as armor protection, flying curse, fainting and falling to the ground, and invisible divine blade. Unfortunately, the effect was not satisfactory, and Zhang Xiao was not discouraged. After all, many adult wizards had not mastered these spells, and talented players like Harry Potter also had to undergo multiple long training sessions to learn them. After playing like this for a while, Zhang Xiao suddenly had a bold idea in his heart. The idea was so tempting that it made him itch. So he spent 50 pence to buy a mouse from the little kid in the apartment building. Then tie the limbs of the mouse separately and hang them on a wooden board. Looking up at the sky at a 45-degree angle, flipping his right hand upwards, holding a magic wand, and shouting loudly with a mouthful of aged phlegm stuck in his throat. Avada gnaws on big melons. After entertaining the mouse and having a full meal, Zhang Xiao personally took it to the sewer and watched as the mouse walked away in high spirits. Zhang Xiao, like nothing had happened, held his hands in his pockets and whistled at the sky, strolling home. After his parents returned in the evening, Zhang Xiao finally asked the question he urgently wanted to know. "Mom and Dad, the upgrade route of our sect is not right. What is the boundary division? Zhang Qingdao and Li Qingshu showed confusion on their faces, obviously not quite understanding what their son meant. After a lot of communication, Zhang Qingdao finally said with a mix of laughter and tears. There is no boundary division, everyone seeks the Tao, and everyone's Tao is different. Can we say that your Tao is right and my Tao is wrong? And what's the use of dividing the realm of Lashizi? Let's meet before we reach our realm. Whoever has a high realm is right. Li Qingshu also added. As the saying goes, there is a sequence of hearing about the Tao, and there are records in the Taoist sect that some people are ordinary, who suddenly realize and soar to the ground. So what kind of realm is this? There is only strength and weakness in the Xian men, without any realm. What I want to know is the division of strength and weakness. Zhang Xiao quickly continued, so how do we know who is strong and who is weak? Zhang Qingdao raised 2 fingers. Simple, there are only 2 options. The first one is to have done it directly, and it is clear at a glance who is higher. The second way is to look at the results of the battle. If someone else can't handle the chaos, and you can handle it, then you are stronger than him. Just like this, you hit me, I hit him, and I consciously learned to achieve something. After a while, everyone will probably know who is strong and who is weak. Zhang Xiao silently remembered these things in his heart, and after some contemplation, he felt like he was alone. There is no clear division in cultivation, but everyone has a conventional division of force, just like the old celestial master, who is known to be strong and top-notch. Kachang didn't know what he was like until someone thought he was good enough, gathered a bunch of stinky fish and rotten shrimp, and was hit by one person. Only then did he know that everyone agreed to practice qi, but you secretly practiced immortality. Well, it feels quite reasonable too. After understanding this question, the family happily started eating dinner again. Zhang Xiao's life has returned to that regular state once again. Every day, he just does morning classes, looks at his seniors' experience notes, thinks about what dojo is, looks at Hogwarts textbooks, and practices small magic spells. Although plain, there is a reassuring happiness. As the start of school approaches day by day, that sense of anticipation almost fills Zhang Xiao's entire body. Feeling overwhelmed by the chaos of his inner self, Zhang Xiao couldn't calm down and read a book. He simply threw the book aside and sat on the bay window, looking out. A thin mist enveloped the ancient city, and the lead gray sky was like a draft paper rubbed with an eraser. The rain is as dense as silk, and only under dim streetlights can one vaguely see the trajectory of the rain. Occasionally, passers-by hurriedly pass by, their collars erect, their windbreakers tightly wrapped, and almost everyone holding a black umbrella. From a distance, it looks like a yellowed old photo with a strange sense of illusion. Zhang Xiao's thoughts were restless, and he was daydreaming about his future life. Which college will I be assigned to? Is it an iron-headed lion? Lipey snake? Note 1, proud eagle. Eating melon badgers for dry meals. Is it just contact or distance with San Xiao? I am undoubtedly familiar with the plot, but I have fallen into a paradox. The more familiar the plot is, the more constrained they become, because it is precisely because they understand the plot that they are afraid of changing it. Because once changed, the subsequent plot will go beyond their knowledge, and people are afraid of the unknown. After thinking for a moment, Zhang Xiao suddenly laughed self-deprecatingly. He hadn't started school yet, but he was worried about his gains and losses. Why bother with so much? The big deal is to hide and go back to go home, China. Is it difficult for Voldemort to go to Dragon and Tiger Mountain to trouble him? Have you asked the border troops? How many masters can Voldemort resist? How many east winds can he withstand? That night, at the suggestion of Zhang Xiao, the family decided to use hot pot to celebrate their son's upcoming school year. After searching around, they found that the crucible was of moderate size and was the perfect choice for eating hot pot. So the whole room was filled with a strong aroma of hot pot. After dinner, Zhang Xiao took out his wand and performed the newly learned clean-up spell for his parents. Although it was not very clean due to lack of proficiency in learning, I still won a round of applause from my parents. In the midst of Zhang Qingdao's exaggerated praise, "Oh my God! My son has learned magic." And Li Qingshu's sincere encouragement, "Come on, Mom believes you. Study hard and make progress every day." He fled in despair, quickly burrowing into the bed. Zhang Xiao was actually quite happy. He silently thought to himself that at least he had been reborn with loving parents. Moreover, he is going to Hogwarts for school tomorrow. Note 1. Lippy Snake is a character from the animated series, Little Carp Adventure, characterized by double eyelids, proud heart, small belly and chicken intestines. She once formed F4 with three-headed phoenixes, giant turtles, and sea monsters, but surprisingly, M is also F4, three-headed phoenixes are proud and delicate, old turtle giant iron, sea monster is simple and silly and makes soy sauce, slapping her thighs angrily. Do you think this is not coincidental? P.S. Seeking recommended tickets, end of this chapter. Chapter 7. Hogwarts Express, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Hogwarts Express, Part 1. The next day, Zhang Xiao got up early. He was both excited and nervous, and he was not unfamiliar with this state. Whether it was getting married or having a child, he had similar experiences. To alleviate this emotion, one can only wait until the end or the true beginning of the situation. The darkness outside the window is still shrouded before dawn. Zhang Xiao couldn't sleep at all, so he could only pick up a book and look at it. After a while, he waved his wand again, or walked aimlessly in the room. When he got on the train and arrived at King's Cross Station, Zhang Xiao couldn't even remember how he managed to get through those few hours. Zhang Xiao, who had already put his luggage in the Qianquan bag, followed his parents into the platform. From the moment he walked into the station, Zhang Xiao began to look around, hoping to see the little wizards pushing luggage carts with animals, but unfortunately, his wish was not fulfilled. "We're here." Zhang Qingdao wore a rare suit, and his very reasonable figure made him particularly handsome in the suit. Li Qingshu beside her was also dressed as a city beauty, and the two stood out in the crowd. Li Qingshu touched Zhang Xiao's head and pointed not far away, saying, "Xiao Xiao, have you seen the stone wall between 9 and 10? Just hit it directly towards the stone wall." Zhang Qingdao also added on the side. "That is a passage entrance that has been blindfolded, and there are some inconspicuous but very practical arrangements. For example, a simple attention shift makes ordinary passengers subconsciously ignore the wizards entering and exiting here. Unless you cause an accident to redirect people's attention back to this place." Finally, Zhang Qingdao added, "Excellent imagination." Zhang Xiao nodded, knowing all of this already. Turning around, he wanted to bid farewell to his parents and let them go back, but he didn't know how to do it. With just a flick of his head, he started singing. "Goodbye, parents. I'm going on a long voyage tonight, don't worry about me, I have the oars of happiness and wisdom." The couple were both taken aback, then chuckled and cursed. "I don't know where to learn these crooked ways." "Alright, then we won't go over it. Study hard at school, listen to the teacher's words, unite classmates, go to bed and wake up early, eat on time, and don't be picky about food." As she spoke, Li Qingshu's eyes turned red, as if the more she spoke, the more sad she became. Zhang Qingdao also fell silent for a moment and forcefully pushed Zhang Xiao's back. It's like the moment before a young bird is about to fly, the old bird pushes the child with all its strength, pushing it towards the infinite sky. With this push, Zhang Xiao plunged into the brick wall and saw a flash of black before his eyes. Then, the light returned to him. A deep red steam locomotive stopped at the crowded platform. The sign hanging on the train reads, "Hogwarts Express, standing below platform 9 and 3/4. Thick smoke swirled above the chirping crowd, and cats of various colors walked under people's feet. Amidst the buzzing voices of the crowd and the noise of dragging bulky luggage, owls also chirp harshly, calling out to each other. The first few carriages were already crowded with students, some of whom leaned out of the car window to talk to their families, and some were playing around in their seats. Lowering his head, a toad was jumping over his feet and picking it up. Zhang Xiao walked towards the train. When a round-faced boy passed by and was crying for blessings, he stuffed it directly into his hand, leaving only a graceful figure in the boy's astonished and surprised gaze. Getting on the car, Zhang Xiao walked straight towards the back and skipped over the private compartment when he saw someone. It wasn't until he was approaching the back of the car that Zhang Xiao found an empty compartment. Throwing his whole body into the seat, he stretched comfortably before taking out a hardcover booklet from the small bag hanging on his waist and reading it with concentration. Not long after, the sound of pushing the door rang out. Zhang Xiao looked up and saw a thin and weak boy with round-framed glasses and messy hair struggling to drag a large box at the door. He looked at Zhang Xiao with emerald green eyes and said awkwardly, "Hello, is anyone here? The other places are full." Zhang Xiao looked up for a moment, then couldn't help but laugh. Fate can be so wonderful sometimes, it always makes you feel its existence unconsciously. For example, at this moment, Harry Potter is standing in front of him. "Of course, can I help you?" Harry dragged the box in, panting heavily, and quickly nodded. "Thank you very much." Zhang Xiao pulled out his wand and pointed to the box, softly reciting, "Wingardium Leviosa." I saw the heavy box floating like a light feather, carried little by an invisible thread. In Harry Potter's surprised and admiring gaze, Zhang Xiao effortlessly put the box into the overhead salute bar. After the two of them sat down, Harry Potter couldn't help but ask, "Did you just use magic?" After 10 years of being bullied, little Harry is very grateful for the magic that changes his own destiny, and he is eager to see more magic. Out of awe of the unknown, he didn't even take out his wand to practice in the summer vacation. Zhang Xiao was different. He was an old fogey. Yes, a very simple little magic that freshmen can quickly master. Zhang Xiao inserted his wand back into his belt and said lightly, then extended his hand to Harry. "Don't be so polite, hello. My name is Zhang Xiao, Chinese. Just call me Zhang." Harry Potter also quickly reached out his hand, shook it, and exclaimed in amazement. "Harry Potter, British, wow, I never knew that Hogwarts would also have students from China. I used to study at a Muggle school, and there were also Chinese students in the class. Their grades were very good, and I think Chinese people must be very smart." He remembered when Zhang Xiao pushed the door and was focused on reading a book. He believed in his own judgment even more and more. He even had to read when taking the train. No wonder he could use magic before school started. Harry announced his name, but did not receive the usual surprise and enthusiastic pursuit, which made him unable to say whether he was disappointed or relaxed. However, he then secretly warned himself in his heart, "Harry, do you really want to be complacent about something you can't even remember?" Harry felt a little ashamed in his heart, and then he decided to act like a normal student, wanting to meet new classmates. He pointed to the book that Zhang Xiao was holding in his hand. "Sorry, were you reading a book before? Did you disturb you?" Zhang Xiaoqiang suppressed his smile, and little Harry couldn't hide his thoughts from him. He lifted the book and revealed the cover. "Do you want to watch Dragon Ball together, a very popular manga?" Harry was somewhat flattered, as he had never been invited to share something before. Many times, he can only secretly flip through the trash can, pick up things that Dolly doesn't want, to understand what interesting toys have been invented in this society. So he gladly accepted Zhang Xiao's invitation, and soon Harry Potter was immersed in Sun Wukong's adventure. He was filled with excitement and wished he could master powerful magic like Sun Wukong through diligent cultivation. Wu dot. The train let out a loud long cry and slowly moved. Not long after, a little boy with red hair pushed open the door of the compartment and asked with the same opening line. "Hello, is anyone here? The other places are full. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Boarding, disembarking, on the Hogwarts Express. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 On the Hogwarts Express, Get Off. Zhang Xiao looked at Ron, who was thin and somewhat insecure, and waved, saying. Of course, he looked at Ron, who was empty-handed. Obviously, he had already received guidance from his brothers and knew that he could put his luggage in a dedicated compartment in advance. Ron sat down awkwardly, his eyes darting towards Harry's forehead, then moved away and tightly grasped the corners of his clothes with both hands. If there were only him and Harry, Ron could still muster the courage to talk to Harry. But now there is another Zhang Xiao. Obviously Ron is social anxiety, and he doesn't know how to start a conversation. Zhang Xiao looked at the somewhat awkward scene in front of him and could only sigh in secret, playing a role in regulating the atmosphere. Hello, I'm Zhang Xiao. You can call me Zhang. This is Harry Potter, and we just met. Ron breathed a sigh of relief and quickly introduced himself. Hello, I'm Ron Weasley. He hesitated for a moment and mustered the courage to ask Harry. Are you really Harry Potter? Harry also breathed a sigh of relief and finally arrived at the familiar stage. As for why Zhang Xiao is not interested, he has also found a reasonable explanation for his new friend. China and the UK are thousands of kilometers apart. Harry nodded and skillfully lifted his long hair in front of his forehead, revealing lightning-like scars. Sorry, although I know you're very interested, I really don't remember anything except for a lot of green light. The next three of them finally entered a more natural stage of conversation. Ron was very interested in Harry and Zhang Xiao, while Harry was interested in everything. As for Zhang Xiao, he is chatting with the children and verifying with himself from Ron's words to see if there are any differences. Fortunately, Ron still has 5 older brothers and 1 younger sister who live in a shantytown. When it comes to his family, Ron clearly has some complaints. Old clothes, old stationery, old wands, everything is old, and his brothers are so outstanding, which has caused him a lot of psychological pressure. Neither Zhang Xiao nor Harry had the intention of mocking him. Harry's life was even more difficult than his, and Zhang Xiao had experienced this kind of life in his previous life. He understood how uncomfortable it was. In fact, Ron's nature is quite good. If it were an ordinary person, he would have been unable to withstand pressure for a long time. He is more like a microcosm of the vast number of book fans, kind, upright, but also insecure, jealous, and flawed. However, there is no perfect person, and flaws do not hide the beauty. After getting to know each other for a while, Harry and Ron have become friends with Zhang Xiao, and Ron quickly became addicted to the charm of Dragon Ball. He always pokes the characters inside with his wand, trying to make them move. This is really cool. I never thought that even a manga that doesn't move would be so interesting. Ron flipped through the anime that Harry had just finished watching and asked what the strange things in the manga were for. Although he seems to understand but doesn't understand, it doesn't affect his enjoyment of reading. When reading comics, time always flies by quickly, and a loud noise can be heard clicking in the hallway. A woman with a smiling face and dimples pushed open the compartment door and asked, "Darling, do you want to buy any food from the car?" Harry didn't eat anything in the morning, so he jumped up all of a sudden. Ron's ears were red and he murmured softly. "No need, thank you. My mother made me a sandwich." He took out a large, tightly packed sandwich from his clothes and shrugged. Zhang Xiao, who was about to pack the small cart, gave Ron a heartfelt admiration and said, "Dude, you're so happy. That's the sandwich Mom made." Only those who have come over can understand how precious the food made by their own mother is. Harry, who has been an orphan since childhood, was also empathized with Zhang Xiao in just one sentence. He really wants his mother to make him a sandwich with her own hands. Harry felt his nose sour and his eyes slightly red. He nodded sincerely and agreed. Zhang is right. If I also have a mother cooking for me, even if we exchange the most delicious food in the world, I won't exchange it. Ron's face lit up at a visible speed, and his eyes towards Zhang Xiao and Harry were vaguely moved. Without hesitation, he took out a sandwich. If you don't mind canned salted beef, let's eat together. Zhang Xiao left the box and chased after him. He bought a little bit of everything. To be honest, he had long been craving these strange snacks, especially BB beans, super bubble candy, and chocolate frog. In his previous life, many of his game nicknames were super bubble candy. In the surprised gaze of Harry and Ron, Zhang Xiao scattered the pile of things he was holding onto the small table and said lightly. We Chinese people value reciprocity, so don't be polite. Let's eat together. Harry and I are both curious about these snacks. Ron, can you introduce them to us? Harry nodded hastily and said, I'm the same. To prove this, Harley first picked up a pack of chocolate frogs and asked Ron, can't they be real frogs? Of course not, Ron said. Take a look at the pictures inside. I'm missing a picture of a greba. Chocolate frogs come with pictures that can be collected. Zhang Xiao opened a pack of chocolate frogs, flipped through the card, and handed it to Ron. Here, a greba. Ron's mouth was wide open, almost enough to fit a duck egg. Is it really a greba? Dude, do you know how rare this card is? According to the Prophet's Daily, a greba is the rarest. So far, it has only appeared once. Someone even offered a price of 100 gold in Cologne. 100 gold crowns. That's quite cheap, Zhang Xiao shook his finger and said with a smile. But it only has value in the hands of those who truly like it, doesn't it? Take it, Ron, just consider it a witness to our friendship. Ron gritted his lips tightly, almost moved to tears. He nodded vigorously and hid the card in his pocket. Harry looked at this scene and felt that Zhang Xiao was a true friend. Compared to him, Dolly was almost 100 times worse. No, Harry shook his head secretly, more than 100 times, afraid that Dolly wouldn't even want to give him something from Nate. In the following time, Zhang Xiao finally tasted what he wanted to know about the BB multi-flavor beans, orange, pineapple, peas, and stinky tofu flavor. And the super bubble-blowing bubble gum that can blow huge bubbles. Perhaps it was because he had helped Neville find Lifu before, but Hermione did not take him to inquire about each carriage. Zhang Xiao felt a bit regretful, and he wanted to see if Hermione was as cute and beautiful as in the movie. Ron patted his head and took out a sleeping mouse from his pocket. Oh my, I almost forgot about the spots. He's still asleep, and I want to feed him a piece of BB-flavored beans. Zhang Xiao squinted his eyes slightly and looked at the mouse that had almost propelled the entire plot with one hand. Suddenly, a tempting thought came up. What if I killed him now? After considering for a while, Zhang Xiao still gave up, mainly because the logic was illogical and he couldn't explain, but he couldn't do nothing. Is this mouse very old? I have an Eastern magic at home that can make it healthier. Do you need to try it? Zhang Xiao lied without changing his expression. Without hesitation, Ron handed the spot over. That's great, to be honest, I always worry that this stupid mouse will sleep to death one day. Taking out a talisman from his own pocket, he wrapped the sleeping Peter around it. Despite his struggles, he waited for a moment as his father had taught him, only to see the talisman flicker slightly, and the talisman flowed like water into its body. The most basic tracking symbol, even ordinary people can use it, foolproof operation, very easy to use. Spotted took off the yellow paper and waved it around with its short upper limbs as if going crazy. Zhang Xiao actually saw fear and confusion in its small eyes. Ron and Harry watched as Spots, who had just been asleep, were bouncing around and applauding together. The magical power of the East, Zhang, my leg has been hurting a bit lately. Can you give me one? Zhang Xiao said, my power is limited and I am only useful for small animals, not for humans. The two little ones looked regretful together, but then they forgot about it and happily started reading comic books. Outside, it was already getting dark unconsciously. Zhang Xiao looked through the window and saw mountains and forests under the deep purple sky. The train seems to have slowed down, and there is a shout from the attendants outside. The train will arrive at Hogwarts in 5 minutes. Please leave your luggage on the train, and we will take you to school. Little ones, now put on your robes and put away your things. Hurry, hurry, hurry. The three of them exchanged a glance and took off their coats, changing into black robes. Ron's robe was a bit short, revealing his sneakers below. Harry kept swallowing saliva, seeming to spit it out at any moment, and Ron's face turned white under his freckles. Although Zhang Xiao was not as exaggerated as they were, he also became nervous, mainly because he didn't know which college he would be assigned to. They stuffed the remaining candy into their pockets and rushed forward with the flow of people in the hallway. The train finally came to a complete stop and the terminal station arrived. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Holding That Hand. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Holding that hand. The three of them rushed out along the crowd, pushing and shoving, and finally arrived at a black and small platform. Immediately after, a rough and loud voice shouted. First grade freshman. First grade freshman, come over here. Harry, come over here, how are you? Harry's face showed a surprised expression as he whispered to the two companions. Hagrid. He's Hagrid, the gamekeeper and keykeeper of Hogwarts, a great person. After speaking, he pulled the two of them forward and pushed them forward. Continuing with the dim light, Zhang Xiao also saw this tall man with giant bloodline, about 3 meters tall. Zhang Xiao reached his thighs and was wearing an oversized fur coat made of unknown animal fur, with a messy beard and a chandelier that was almost half a person tall in his hand. Hagrid squinted his eyes at Harry and shouted loudly. Come on, come with me. Are there any freshmen left? Be careful under your feet, okay? Freshmen, come with me. Zhang Xiao followed the crowd, stumbling along a slippery road. First grade students needed to go to the dock and take a small boat to Hogwarts, while second grade students didn't need to. They just needed to ride comfortably in a carriage, and I don't know who set this strange rule. Turning a corner, a black lake suddenly appeared in front of me, and everyone around me exclaimed in amazement. On the high slope across the lake stood a towering castle, with towering spires and windows twinkling under the starry sky. This is Hogwarts. Zhang Xiao stared fixedly at the castle, his heart filled with indescribable excitement. Harry tugged at him and quickly said. Zhang, we're going to take a small boat now. Zhang Xiao withdrew his gaze and the three of them boarded the small boat, followed by an unknown little wizard. Hagrid confirmed once again that everyone had boarded the ship and shouted, Let's sail. I saw the small boat gently shake and, without anyone sliding, silently glide past the mirror-like surface of the lake. Everyone remained silent, gazing at the huge castle towering into the clouds. It has to be said that the scenes in The Hogwarts Legacy are quite restored. Zhang Xiao quietly looks at the approaching cliffs, passes through the ivy tent covering the front of the cliffs, and comes to the hidden open entrance. Compared with his familiar game pictures, he could not say that they were the same, but almost the same, which made him wonder whether the world was the world in the book or an independent world. But there was no time for him to ponder at the moment, as the small boat was about to reach its destination. In the game, there is a place similar to an underground dock where you can directly reach the entrance of the auditorium through an elevator. The little wizard followed Hagrid up a stone step and gathered in front of a huge oak door. He reached out and knocked, and the door immediately opened. A tall black-haired witch wearing an emerald green robe stood in front of the door, which was Professor McGonagall. Harry muttered softly. She looks really strict. Ron nodded in agreement, his face becoming increasingly pale, even trembling with nervousness. First-year student, Professor McGonagall, Hagrid said. Thank you, Hagrid. Let me pick you up from here. She pulled the door wide open. The entrance hall is large enough to accommodate all first-year wizards. Around the stone wall were blazing torches, and the ceiling was so high that it was almost impossible to see the top. On the front is a huge Hogwarts school emblem, with luxurious marble stairs on both sides leading straight up. They followed Professor McGonagall along the paved stone floor to a small empty room at the other end of the hall. Everyone rushed in, rubbing their shoulders and backs together, nervously and carefully gazing at everything around them. "Welcome to Hogwarts," Professor McGonagall said. "The opening banquet is about to begin. However, before you enter the restaurant, you all need to confirm which college you will be attending. Sorting is an important ritual." Professor McGonagall briefly introduced the names and glorious history of the 4 colleges, as well as the scoring rules, and then left directly to prepare for the division ceremony. Harry swallowed his saliva and asked dryly, "How can they accurately assign us to which college?" Ron swung his head and turned around, revealing a smile that was even uglier than crying. "Fred said it hurt us a lot, and I guess he was joking, but it was always a test." The little wizards next to him clearly thought of going with Ron. A girl with fluffy hair was muttering words, and a large portion, like Harry, showed despair, clearly knowing nothing. Zhang Xiao couldn't help but laugh. Hogwarts had become an old tradition, and he whispered to the 2 of them about the threat of the new students. "Relax, it's just a formality. There is no distinction between high and low in colleges, and the division hat is more about dividing according to your inner thoughts, not necessarily accurate. It doesn't matter which college you are assigned to. Branch hat." The 2 keenly grasped the key point in Zhang Xiao's words. "Yes, an ancient and magical prop, you will soon see it." Zhang Xiao didn't explain much. At this moment, a group of milky white ghosts suddenly emerged from the wall, talking and flying forward, causing the little wizards to marvel. One of the chubby ghosts loudly cheered them on, wishing them a chance to be assigned to the Hufflepuff. Harry and Ron were still desperately thinking about how a hat would allocate them to the academy when 3 boys suddenly squeezed through the crowd and came over. Note 1, the boy led by him had a pale face and exquisite platinum hair. He raised his face slightly, appearing a bit arrogant. He looked at Harry and said in a slow, adult-like tone, "Everyone is discussing that Harry Potter will also be admitted. So, that's you, right?" "Yes," Harry said, looking at the other 2 boys. They were both short and chubby, and they looked particularly unattractive. Standing on either side of the little white face, one on each side, they looked like a pair of his bodyguards. "Oh, this is Crabbe, this is Gore." The pale-faced boy noticed Harry looking at them, casually introducing them, and then solemnly saying, as if talking about something big, "My name is Malfoy, Draco Malfoy." Ron lowered his head and covered his mouth to avoid laughing out loud. Draco Malfoy looked at him. "You think my name is ridiculous, right? No need to ask who you are. My father told me that the Weasley family has red hair, freckles all over their faces, and they have too many children to afford." He turned to Harry and said, "You will soon find that some wizarding families are much better than others, Potter. You don't want to make friends with alternative people, do you? I can help you with this." Then he reached out his hand and Harry looked at him coldly, saying, "I think I can distinguish it by myself." Malfoy's pale face showed a faint blush, and he was about to retract his hand. Just then, a slender, fair and powerful hand reached out. Grasping the hand that made many people wonder, what would happen if Harry and Malfoy shook hands. But Zhang Xiao understood that no matter what, Harry and Malfoy would not shake hands. Malfoy and Dolly were just too much like each other, proud, boastful, and spoiled like children. And just now he insulted Ron, a friend Harry recognized. But just like all adults looking at children, Zhang Xiao only laughed at the children's thoughtfulness. He shook his hand in Malfoy's surprised gaze, giving him a step down in disguise. With a faint smile on his face, Zhang Xiao exerted force on his hands. What you said earlier was too much. Now give you a chance and apologize. Malfoy felt the increasing strength in his hands, and the pain twisted his face slightly. He gasped for air and immediately carried forward the fine tradition of the Malfoy family. Being a wise and talented person. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Zhang Xiao finally let go of him with satisfaction and said softly. You don't make friends like this. It's lonely without friends, right? Malfoy looked at him in shock and fear, his eyes flickering. He wanted to say something about the scene, but Professor McGonagall's voice interrupted him and he could only walk back indignantly. Harry secretly gave him a thumbs up, and Zhang Xiao patted Ron's shoulder, saying in his grateful eyes. Don't take it to heart, it's just a spoiled child. His nature is not bad, but he has grown crooked. Ron nodded, his emotions were much better than before. Malfoy is actually quite sad. Everything he did was instilled by his parents. He just unconditionally believed in his parents, and good education may not necessarily lead to success. But what's this about him? According to Zhang Xiao's estimation, either enter Gryffindor or enter Ravenclaw with exceptional intelligence, and it is also possible for Hufflepuff, but not for Slytherin. Just kidding, is he a passionate young man who acts bravely in Slytherin? Professor McGonagall walked in with parchment and loudly said. Line up now and follow me. Note 1. In the novel, this plot takes place on a train, and in the movie, it is in front of the branch. The movie plot is used here. End of this chapter. 10. Chapter 10, Please share your dreams. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10, Please share your dreams. The little wizards lined up, passed through the foyer, and entered the luxurious restaurant through a double door behind them. There are many students sitting beside the 4 long tables, and thousands of candles floating in mid-air above the tables illuminate the restaurant. 4 tables were adorned with sparkling golden plates and tall wine glasses. Zhang Xiao looked up and saw twinkling stars on the velvet black ceiling, as if this auditorium had not been topped. Magic is really convenient. If car manufacturers see this starry sky top technology, they would go crazy. Professor McGonagall placed a pointed wizard hat on a 4-legged stool. The hat is very old and still patched. Ron and Harry both stared at this hat. Is this what Zhang called the sorting hat? How should it be divided? In the restaurant, there was a complete silence, and suddenly a wide crack opened at the edge of the hat, and it began to sing. You may think I'm not pretty, but don't judge people by their appearance. If you can find a more beautiful hat than me, I can eat myself. The branch hat finally finished singing its own song, and Zhang Xiao even doubted whether the branch hat had been doing nothing for a whole year, thinking about composing songs. Harry and Ron breathed a sigh of relief, but then became anxious again. Both hoped to be assigned to Gryffindor, but listening to the Sorting Hat song, they felt more likely to be Hufflepuff. Who did Hufflepuff provoke? Professor McGonagall picked up parchment and scanned the new students with a scrutinizing gaze before saying. Whoever I call now will put on a hat, sit on a stool, and wait for the branch. Zhang Xiaoxing looked at the chair with great enthusiasm. Here came the flowing fan and the iron-clad Hannah. Hannah Abbott. Zhang Xiao let out a sigh similar to a fulfilled wish, which surprised Harry and Ron a bit. He didn't know what kind of nerve the young man had. A little girl with a rosy complexion and 2 golden braids stumbled out of the queue and put on a hat that just covered her limited eyes. She sat down. Hufflepuff, shouted the hat, pausing for a moment. The people at the table on the right applauded and cheered Hannah, welcoming her to sit at their table. The fat cultivator ghost also happily waved to her. Susan Pence. Hufflepuff. The speed of hat sorting varies, but the number of new students is not very large, estimated to be only a few dozen people. When Malfoy's name was called, he walked over with a big face and immediately achieved his wish. His hat almost touched his head and he screamed, Slytherin. Malfoy went to meet up with his friends Crabbe and Gore, showing a satisfied expression of himself. Not long after, Professor McGonagall shouted loudly, "Harry Potter!" Zhang Xiao and Ron patted his shoulder, and Harry walked stiffly over like a robot, buttoning his hat on his head. A sudden buzzing murmur in the restaurant sounded like the sizzling sound of a small flame. The restaurant was crowded with people, and everyone looked around, hoping to see his appearance clearly. Harry Potter. Is it that Harry Potter? The newspaper says Harry Potter is starting school this year. After a long time, the branch hat finally shouted. Gryffindor. A long table suddenly erupted with enthusiastic cheers, and Zhang Xiao noticed that Dumbledore in the center of the podium also showed a satisfied smile. He even picked up his glass and took a sip himself. Harry put down his hat, with a happy smile on his face, and ran to Gryffindor's table to receive everyone's welcome. At the same time, he gave a thumbs up to his two buddies to cheer them on. After a while, Ron also successfully entered the Iron-Headed Lion Academy. Thanks to the first letter of his surname being Z, Zhang Xiao realized that he had become the last person to cheat his father. Finally, Professor McGonagall shouted. Xiao Zhang. Zhang Xiao noticed that several girls on Ravenclaw's side suddenly whispered to each other, probably chatting with Qiu Zhang, but they were too far away and didn't see what Qiu Zhang, who was claimed to be the Hogwarts school flower, looked like. Taking a deep breath to relieve her nervousness, Zhang Xiao walked forward and put on a branch hat in the hopeful eyes of her friends. The hat was fastened onto the head to block the view, followed by darkness. Well, he heard a faint voice in his ear, difficult, very difficult. You are even more difficult than the previous child. You can see that you have a lot of courage. You are kind-hearted, and Gryffindor is very suitable for you. Isn't that right? After all, it's for children to block the gun. If it's not reckless, no normal person would face difficulties at the muzzle. Oh, you're also very talented. Well, you have a lot of ideas. Ravenclaw is also a good choice. It's necessary. Besides being at the forefront of community primary schools, it's still the first prize in Provincial Math Olympiad, although it's in the primary school group. Oh my goodness, why do you have an indelible desire for farming deep down in your heart? You also have an amazing understanding and belief in food, unbelievable. You are simply born for Hufflepuff. Nonsense. Chinese people are like this, and food is the bottom line for Chinese people. Just the food from Britain is also used as relief food in most parts of China. After a moment of silence, the Sorting Hat continued to ask. So okay, do you have anything you want to achieve? Do you have a dream? What do you want to accomplish? Dreams. Zhang Xiao's thinking immediately diverged. Of course, he had a dream, and even a wild hope buried in his heart, not even his parents. That is to study hard in school, absorb magic knowledge seriously, unite classmates, respect teachers, and expand social networks. Using the power of magic, with the help of the Forgotten Curse and the Soul-Seizing Curse, make reasonable use of the Untraced Stretching Curse. Whatever the motherland needs, it will transport it. Whether it's high-end technology, band machine tools, or lithography machines, we can deeply solve the problems of difficult and strange diseases, as well as the difficulty and disdain of ordinary people in seeking medical treatment, even during the epidemic. And he also focuses on the issues of agriculture, rural areas, and farmers, whether it is saline alkali land or land desertification, at least solving the problem of food and clothing, and guiding them to plant high-value magical plants. Zhang Xiao was lost in his imagination and almost missed the subtle sound in his ear. I can see that you have a great ideal and you are eager to achieve it. If so, there is no doubt that it will help you towards glory. Then, the branch hat roared loudly and shouted. Slytherin. This time the branch was exceptionally long, even longer than the Harry Potter one, and with everyone looking forward to the feast after the branch ended, all eyes were focused on Zhang Xiao. So much so that there was a small silence after the Sorting Hat shouted out Slytherin. Harry and Ron stood dumbfounded at the long table in Gryffindor, staring at each other. How could their good friend have been assigned Slytherin? No, it's impossible. Ron was more excited than anyone else. In his eyes, Zhang Xiao didn't mock him for being poor, but instead praised him for having an enviable family and even gave him precious chocolate frog cards, not to mention Malfoy's righteous actions when he mocked him. Zhang Xiao is just a Gryffindor. How could it be Slytherin? Harry also had similar thoughts, but after all, he had just experienced the entanglement and persuasion of the Sorting Hat and guessed. Ron, just now the Sorting Hat also advised me to go to Slytherin. I guess Zhang forgot to refute. His long time in the Sorting Hat must also meet the requirements of other colleges. And Slytherin isn't all bad people, is he? Ron desperately thought, yes. That's right, Merlin belongs to Slytherin. I've even heard of a distant relative from the Black family, who seems to have married a Muggle and broken with the family. It's also Slytherins. The two little guys firmly believed in their guess, looking at their new friend with a mixture of concern and sympathy, afraid that he would be excluded and bullied in the wrong college of Slytherin. As for Zhang Xiao, people are all foolish. Didn't they ask themselves what ideals they have? Why did you just go to Slytherin? It's not that he has any prejudice against the Snake Courtyard, but the problem is that most of them are arrogant and eccentric. Isn't it tiring to get along with them, and he doesn't like green either. To be honest, he likes yellow. Qimu has become a boat, even if unwilling, it can only be like this. Drowsy, he walked to Slytherin's long table and sat next to Malfoy. Tua Ge's expression was like that of a dead relative. He stared at Zhang Xiao with a flickering gaze for a while, and decided to go to the public lounge to teach this annoying ghost a profound lesson. Albus Dumbledore stood up. He looked at the students with a smile on his face and extended his arms to them. Welcome, he said, welcome everyone to Hogwarts to start a new academic year. Before the banquet starts, I want to say a few words. That's stupid. Crying my nose. Residual. Twist. Thank you all. The small wizards in the huge restaurant cheered and the banquet began. End of this chapter.